All right, let's jump into the things that will kill you cold as you get started. We call these referral killers, 7 referral killers that will stop you before you even get started. We share this information now because my experience is that most existing entrepreneurs and small business owners are violating at least 1 or 2 of these right now. And if you can catch yourself and stop violating them, the ideas we're going to share for the rest of the workshop will get better results. They'll just get better results for you going forward. Does that make sense? Let me just jump out of here. I want to see live faces on the screen. Raise your hand if that makes sense to you, for those that have your camera on. Yeah, does that make sense? Okay, good. This is super, super important. And for those of you that don't have your camera on, I encourage you to do that. If you're in a situation where you can't, where you are, great. But here's what'll happen. You'll get more out of it. We'll get more out of it because we'll get feed off of your energy, but you'll also get more out of it. Right? We already know this material. So really, we're doing this for you guys. And the more you can keep your camera on, the more you're going to get out of it as we go through this process. Okay. Let's jump right back into these referral killers right now. Number 1, assume. Assuming happy customers will refer unsolicited, right at the top of the list, right? This happens all the time. Word of mouth affects the purchase decision of 54% of consumers. It's the most influential psychological driver for purchases, according to Adweek. And yet almost every entrepreneur I meet assumes they're going to get referrals without having to ask for it. All right. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you have documented, systematic, multiple referral generating systems in your business in order to take full advantage of this process. The second referral killer is motivation. Thinking what motivates you motivates your client. And a great example of that is in the referral space is money. There are a lot of people that only do referral programs that pay people for referring. Well, what if your client isn't motivated by that? What if that's not their driving motivation? This workshop, all the net proceeds go to Kiva. You heard that if those are here at this very start. Well, when we go to referral partners, we can't say, you'll make $27 for every person you send to us. Why? Because they don't make a dime. Many of you are here today because of referral partners. They don't make a dime off the $27. Now, if you decide to play with us at a high-end program down the road someday, yeah, we have a lifetime tag and we'll compensate them 20%. But that's not why they're doing it. They're doing it because they support our mission with Kiva, and or they support helping people get more referrals, including their own clients. So you want to make sure you're very clear that, by the way, and the flip side also applies, because Simon and I are driven by motivation and impact. There are other referral partners out there who just care about the money, baby. That's all they care about. So just keep in mind what motivates you may or may not motivate other people. Next is short-term thinking, being transactional instead of thinking long-term. And we got a video from Simon Sinek, the big why creator and popularizer, TEDx, TED Talk speaker, on this example that happened to him that I think you're going to love.
There are many people in your industry who talk a good game. They talk about relationships, but let's be honest, it's bullshit. They just want to make the transaction and move on. And they pretend that they care, and they pretend it's, you know, that they care about the relationship, when the reality is it's one and done and on to the next. And that's what happened to me. I had a mortgage broker. He sold me a mortgage. He was recommended to me. That's how most of us meet somebody, you know. And he was very nice and charming and was there with me. And then my sale went through, and he called me up to congratulate me, and I was feeling all warm and fuzzy towards him. And then as soon as he congratulated me, he said, and if you could recommend me to anybody else, I'd be really grateful. Like, and he wasn't calling to congratulate me. He was calling to remind me to put in a good word for him somewhere else. Like, if he actually cared about me and my house, then he would have just called me really excited that I got my house. And if he wanted something from me, he would have waited a week or two to ask the favor. But the guy, it became abundantly clear to me, I'm in the human behavior business.
Yes.
He never called me because he cared about me. And by the way, I will never, ever recommend him, because it was never, I realized that I was just a number on a spreadsheet. And so if you actually care about building relationships, then actually build relationships. You know, I remember when I was starting out in my career, I had a little marketing consultancy, and I came from an industry that pretended that they were good at everything, the marketing world. Like literally, they pretended they were good at everything, whether they were or weren't. And when I went off by myself, it was important to me to be honest. And clients would come and talk to me and say, we want to hire you to do all these things. And I'd say, I'll do that one, I'm really good at that, pretty good at that. I like doing that. That I'm mediocre on, that I suck at. I highly recommend you hire another company to do that, and I'm happy to partner with them. And it made them want to do business with me more.
Because you said no.
Because I told them what I was good at and what I was bad at, and where I was super honest.
Yeah.
And we've all had that experience where you want to hire somebody and they go, let me introduce you to somebody. It happened to me recently.
Yeah.
I wanted it was like something silly.
Yeah.
You know, I needed wallpaper.
Yeah.
He highly recommended. I called him up, he came, he gave me a quote. He's like, you know what, I'm not the best at this thing, and he gave me the number of somebody else.
Yeah.
Now all I want to do is work with him again, and I keep giving out his phone number to other people, even though I actually never did work with him. Because what builds a relationship is an honest broker. Honesty is such a hard thing to get, especially in a transaction business, especially in a commodity business, because it is just volume and numbers.
Yeah.
And that when you actually find an honest one, all you want to do is help them build their book of business, even though you may never do business with them. And that's what a lot of finite-minded folks in your business don't get, which is, you may never sell me a mortgage, but I'll become your biggest champion. There are many
Super
people in
great
the
example
industry-
about being transactional.